Hello, and welcome to another episode of Critical Political Thinking. My name's Corey Camasso, and I'm your host. Today's episode, we're going to be covering the current status of the Conservative Party, how within just about a month's period, the Conservative Party has gone from pretty much at the top of their game to now being labeled as domestic terrorists. We're going to discuss how we can assess the situation and move forward. And we're also going to discuss some underground plans that we've discovered on how the liberal left plans to pretty much end the Conservative Party as we know it. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because there's a large target on our backs, and we are about to take it off. Thanks for watching and welcome to Critical Political Thinking. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Critical Political Thinking. My name's Corey Camasso, and I'm your host. Today's episode, we're going to be covering the current status of the Conservative Party, how since January 6th and the events at the Capitol, things have progressed in a downward spiral, how conservatives have been labeled a great many names. I mean, I've never been called so many names as I have in the past month for simply doing my job. We're going to go over the ideological purge that is now being planned and implemented, and how they're literally using COVID and the military as a way to destroy the Conservative Party. So let's talk about conservatives and where we stand. Right now, conservatives, for the most part, are being labeled as extremists. Anyone that had any support in Donald Trump or anyone that had any question about election integrity, which were valid questions, which there was enough evidence, as much as liberal media wants to dispute this claim, or these facts, I should say, it's important to understand they are just that. Facts. They are statistical anomalies. That is a factual statistical anomaly. These are things that need to be addressed. These are things that should have gone through the court system. And being that they did not, lends credibility to the fact that there was something to hide. Otherwise, why not give the transparency, prove them wrong in the court of law, and make asses out of all of us? Because they couldn't do it, and they knew that. So, what do they do instead? Well, they took this opportunity. Mayor Bowser, one of the, I don't want to call her a brainchild of this event, but she took it upon herself to basically say, well, they're supposed to be peaceful. They're not going to cause any problems. Let's not even bother putting any force out there like we would for, let's say, a BLM protest. We don't care to keep them safe. What do we care what happens to them? And that's exactly what happened. Basically, out of spite, they made sure that there weren't enough people there to keep us safe or to protect us. So what ended up happening was a select few in the group got mob mentality and took it upon themselves to cause destruction and mayhem. And that through that mob mentality, it lended almost a sense that it was okay for what was going on. And the fact that it was that easy lent credibility to the fact that maybe there was some insiders involved. And that's why the majority of those good Americans, in some cases, entered the Capitol. And while I don't approve of what they did, and I would never condone of their activity, I mean, being present at the event close enough to see what actually happened, there is a lot more to this situation than meets the eye. And the simple fact that the liberal media is not even bothering to take on that aspect of the story is also more credibility that they are involved in this major plot to end the Conservative Party. They have literally used the events on January 6th to mobilize the military. They are literally using the United States military, 25,000 soldiers, complete overkill. We all knew this, they all knew this, but the reason they did it was to create an image, just like CNN does. They just make this fake movie set to just push an agenda. Well, that's what's happening. And they're using the United States military. And now they're forcing them, 5,000 of our soldiers, to stay in Washington, even though there is really no credible threat to our capital or to, I mean, you've got to realize the people that went to Washington, D.C. had no interest in destroying the building. They had no interest in destroying the United States. And that, my friends, is what a domestic terrorist is. Someone that causes terror, rains terror upon a country. They try to destroy and harm and maim. And while a few of the people there may have participated in activities that were similar to that, so did BLM for the past 8 months. As a matter of fact, they did it 10 times as much. And that, my friends, are the facts. Those are the facts. Sorry. Those are the facts. 10 times as much damage. 72 times as much damage, 10 times as much violence, 10 times as much death. That's what's happened, my friends. And yet they're not domestic terrorists, they're social justice warriors. They're heroes for their activities. As a matter of fact, they've just been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for creating peace, not the African American movement, which is valid. And there should be unity and equality, and that's non-negotiable. But how can you nominate an organization that has literally preached violence, has lended to this mayhem that has destroyed many major cities? They have garnered thousands and millions of dollars with absolute no money trail that anyone can ever see, because it's a private organization. And now they're being nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. Well, can you name one thing or one really beneficial organization that has benefited from BLM? Who has received a major donation anywhere near the amount of money these people have taken in? And you have the nerve to nominate them for a Nobel Peace Prize? And yet, when Donald Trump was nominated, he was attacked for it. He was ridiculed for it. And yet you don't see anything even close to that when BLM was nominated. Why? Because of the sheer hypocrisy. Because the liberal media has an agenda. And by their doing this, they clearly show it. And if you don't see it, shame on you. Honestly, shame on you for being that blind. I mean, you've got to realize they are literally using the military to eradicate Trump supporters, as well as eradicating Trump supporters from the military. We have Democratic senators and representatives actually stating, we need to see who these people voted for. If they voted for Donald Trump, then they don't believe in election integrity. They don't believe in what we believe in. They need to go. Are you kidding me? Whatever happened to the First Amendment? And why is the media, First Amendment, the reason it was basically drawn up and the reason they have jobs, why are they not jumping on this? Because they know they're protected. Because they know they're part of the plan. They know that they are the insiders. They have nothing to fear at this point. Zuckerberg will never remove their accounts. Are you kidding me? Come on, they won't even be questioned. And why is that? Because they're all part of it. I mean, even look at the body language of the press secretary for the White House. The redhead that just came in. I apologize. It starts with a P, but I don't remember her last name because, frankly, it's not that important to me at this point. Because just looking at her body language, I have literally, and we can't factually state this, but what I can say is, based on her body language and the psychology training I have and so on and so forth, I have seen nothing but lies and deception coming from that individual. And that scares me even further, because at least Kayleigh McHenry was cocky and she may have stated things that people disagreed with, but none of it was non-factual. None of it was beating around the bush to hide the true agenda. And what is that true agenda? What is it that, we're seeing happening right now? It's a certain verbiage, and make sure you're noting this, because this is that secret target that the liberals are now painting, and now they're even getting funding and so on and so forth to attack us in the near future. And ready? Here's the verbiage. National threat to security. They're considering conservative extremists, and it's important to understand an extremist in their eyes is anyone that even came close to questioning the integrity of the election. They are literally targeting each and every person that had any kind of a question, a rightful question, because that's your right as an American to question these things, especially when you have governors that have just literally changed the law as they saw fit, gone around the constitution of that individual state, and then because they're democratic states, no one does a damn thing. So now they're utilizing this verbiage to garner funding and garner, federal aid and attack these people. They're going to have all of these people arrested. They're literally going to go out and target an entire political party, an entire ideology, one of the most basic freedoms in our country, the right to choose our government. And they're telling us, no, you don't have that right. You don't have that right, especially if it's not the person that we agree with. And that's exactly what's happening, people. That's exactly what's going on. As a matter of fact, they're even realizing their mistake, and they're going to back that up with the new House resolution. You have to look up H.R. 1. This is going to end everything as we know it. We will never be able to trust another election again. They are sneaking us through. Guaranteed they are going to try and mark it into one of these COVID bills, and they're going to portion little parts of it into the COVID bills so that when push comes to shove, they've already got the groundwork laid and they can move forward. Just like they're doing with the $15 minimum wage. What the hell does that have to do with COVID? Absolutely nothing. All that has to do is the first step into socialism and the first step into the opposite of what this country needs. And it is the first step to the end of the financial freedoms that we enjoy in this country. It's the end of small business. It's the end of everything that made this country great. And it's the end of everything that our forefathers created this country to do. Our First Amendment, Second Amendment, they're all in jeopardy. And the reason they're in jeopardy is because they're allowing big tech to take over and overrule through these certain rules that they put into place. And they put those things in place while sneaking them in, just like they're trying to do by sneaking in the national threat to security on liberal extremists and conservative extremists. And these conservative extremists are only extreme if they're labeled that. And who labels them? The liberals. So ladies and gentlemen, there is a huge target painted on the conservatives' back. And it's all of us. It's any one of us that ever posted something on Facebook going back. If it's any one of us that ever said something to one of our liberal friends, we are all now targets. We are the person that they are going to be told to turn in. They're already forming groups of people that, will be labeling and identifying. I spoke with somebody's reached out to me recently, and they said, I took it upon myself to start doing research. In one of your videos on the 5th, I saw this guy, and he was doing this on the 6th. And I said, that's great, and I'll be happy to provide that information if you can answer my question. I said, what made you, as a citizen, be so outraged to jump in now? Is this the first time you've ever done this, or did you do this for BLM too, when they beat officers, even worse, or executed officers? Did you partake in any of those activities? And if not, why? And they said, well, it wasn't, that bad. I said, why? Well, he said, well, look at TV. I said, and there you go. Look at TV. It's whatever they make out to be a crime. It's whatever they make out to be the most evil of things is what ends up being in people's mind the most evil of thing. And it's what's inspiring good Americans to target even better Americans. I don't want to say even better Americans, just as good Americans. And the reason they're doing that is simply because they're being tricked by the liberal media. So please do your own research. Please realize anyone that was involved in the Capitol protests may not have been a domestic terrorist. If anything, maybe 5 or 10 of those people could be considered extremists. The rest were literally routed into mob mentality. And even that for Black Lives Matter, it happens there too. But only they're let go. Only they have, entertainment groups running funds to get their bail. But you don't see a single thing like that for the conservatives. As a matter of fact, they're getting shut down. They're shutting those GoFundMes down. And yet they allowed them for BLM. How is that not racial discrimination against Caucasians? Can you please explain that to me? It doesn't make any sense. They're preaching unity, and yet they're just dividing. They don't want unity. They want to lead. They want to rule. They want to take over. Don't fall for the trap, people. Stand strong, conservatives. We're all still here. We all need to remain together We can't allow them to target us. We can't allow them to single us out and pull away from what we have held dear for so long just because they're going to target us. That's called bullying. And it's about time we stand up to the bullies. My name is Corey Camasso. This is Critical Political Thinking. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please ring the notification bell, and please rumble this video. We depend on you. We are a non-paid, non-monetized channel. Everything we do because it's our duty, our civic duty, to provide the truth to this country. And we will continue to do so. If you can help us do that, we would greatly appreciate it. There are links below for our GoFundMe. But that's not what we're about. We are about making sure America remains America. Again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Corey Camasso, and God bless America.